Roxall MUZKAST experience. It might be time to drop the MUZKAST. I don't know.
No.
Since we're not doing music today.
We did this. Well, we do have, I'll upload it later. You'll hear 30 seconds of our fabulous new bumper from Faith Ed.
Oh.
And so that will be included in there.
All right.
So
did you do something special, B-Funk?
I don't know. Maybe I will.
Yeah, I know. No, I know.
30 seconds
I
of-
just thought, I thought maybe that was my birthday present or something.
No. And we're not going to sing either.
Oh, good. Good.
So we're doing Undocumented Facts. I think this is number 3. And we're going to talk about a couple things, 4 things to be exact, or 5, or whatever we get to. But the first one, I want you to answer this question to me. And this may be strong. If the government was attempting to assassinate someone, could they have done anything different than what happened at the presidential assassination?
Are you implying that this was a setup?
This is what the show's kind of about a little bit.
All right.
Could they have done anything? I mean, the guy's on the roof for so long. Someone takes him. They wait until he shoots 3 times, and then they take him out.
I saw the clip this morning. I think it was on Patrick Bet-David's show. I saw the clip this morning where the guy on the ground literally says, "There's a guy on the roof with a gun," and then you hear pop, 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 and I mean, come on. What more do you need to tee this up? Look, I personally, and I try to approach everything like this. I want to believe the facts. I want to believe that this didn't happen by design. So I'm still leaning on that side. Let's get all the facts first. Let's see if we can answer all the questions, that sort of thing. So from my standpoint right now, it would be, could anything else have gone wrong? And, everybody's spending all this time talking about, the protectors that day, the Secret Service men and women that day are fine people. They do their job. We've heard all that. And yes, I'm not disparaging any Secret Service agent that's, out there doing their job. But after watching that mess and Cheadle up on the floor there, I went, where can I get an application? Because I think I could do her job. I meant to put together a timeline, and I just ran out of time. But I mean, you had the guy with the rangefinder, all the people that saw him, all the and they took a picture out of the window, and they said, this is where our guy was posted, and you can see the roof where the shooter was. Well, why didn't you just shoot him in the back then? I mean, how many times does it have to fail before you go, we got a problem? And that's the problem, is Cheadle and then Rowe, neither one of them want to say we got a problem. And Rowe is worse. You know who I'm talking about when I throw these names out, right?
Yeah.
Rowe is now the acting head.
director.
Yeah. He's up there with Josh Hawley talking about, I'm losing sleep at night, turning himself into the victim of this thing. And it's like, bro, yeah, come on. A dude's dead and you're losing sleep at night. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you.
What was that, P-Funk?
There's more than one person dead. The shooter and the guy that was on the platform.
We don't count the shooter.
Well, I again, until someone gives the answer to the question I asked, anybody, it's cringe. Like, Like we're
To use the term of the youth, it's
Yeah.
cringe and very sus.
it's
All right, I'll be the
Go ahead.
first.
Go ahead.
What do I think after all that has been said and done? I think it was a passive attempt at assassination through negligence. I think they passively they knew he had a threat against him from Iran. Now, this whole kid and his association to BlackRock and all that stuff, very suspect.
Yeah, he's got a ties to BlackRock. Did
Yeah.
you? I'm sure you already know this, P Funk. Did you know that the building that he shot off is ultimately owned by BlackRock?
No, I did not know that.
Go look that up. So the company that owns that building is once or twice removed, but owned by a corporation, BlackRock.
No, did not know that.
Go look that one up. Is that
All
how
right,
the
so
king gets
let
up
me
there?
let me finish my answer.
Go ahead.
So I think it was a passive attempt at assassination through negligence, and it failed. They knew he had a threat. They've been denying him extra Secret Service security. I think it was a passive attempt to take. Of course, you can go back to several episodes. I've said this for over a year now. I don't think they're going to kill Trump one way or another. I don't think he will. Even if he gets elected in November, he will not sit in the White House. Those 90 days or whatever it is between, or 30 days, whatever it is between November and January, that little lame duck period, it'll go full tilt. I just do, and I'm not wishing it on him. I want to make sure that's perfectly clear. I'm not wishing political violence here. I think he is such a threat to the deep state, whatever their agenda is, whatever his agenda is that conflicts with theirs. I'm a firm believer that it's going to be, well, this time it was an assassination attempt. Next time it could be mechanical malfunctions with his airplane. It could be poison. It could be, the CIA has been long believed to have like what they call the heart attack gun. I guess it shoots
I've
like
heard
an
about that.
electrical, like an EMP pulse or something like that. I just don't see him unless he just really amps up his personal security. I just don't see him making it into the White House. Of course, it doesn't matter how many people vote for him. It all depends on who's counting the votes. And if we learned anything about the last round of elections, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah.
All the election fraud that was discovered from 4 years ago. So I have no faith in our election system. But hey, we can always certify Venezuela's.
Yeah.
And I'll shut up on that.
Oh, we're gonna get to that.
Well,
we're gonna get to that.
I said this with the Nancy and Paul Pelosi attack, and I'm saying it here again, which is, if you want to do away with all the conspiracy theories, just tell us what happened. As soon as we all saw the tape of Paul Pelosi getting attacked, then we were all like, whoa, okay, maybe it is what you said it was. But you've lied to us so many times that we can't trust you. We have to see the video. And what really scares me about that is when everything really is up to speed with AI, yeah, they're just going to produce the videos that they want to produce.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I keep thinking about all these people who get these AI apps. I'm going to go down, my band is not very pro AI. If you've heard our latest single, and we have a new music video dropping on Sunday night, tomorrow night.
But the artwork looks AI.
It has AI elements in it, because I can Photoshop it and change, because
Did you Photoshop it or did you
Oh yeah,
AI?
I'm a Photoshop everything.
Oh,
I mean,
all right.
it's AI is a tool for me. I use I need this or I need that, and it's just quick.
Have you noticed that AI can't spell?
Well, it doesn't know how many fingers are on the human hand either.
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, did you know that, Aaron? If you want to see if a picture's real or AI, start looking at the hands and looking if they're extended or if they've only got 3 fingers or so. I don't know why AI can't figure that out.
I see.
Crazy.
Well,
And they can't spell either.
Elon will get on that.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
but anyways, but no, I mean, I'm thinking what I was going to say was everybody gets these phone apps out, and they got the phone scanning their face and all this, and you're just setting yourself up for a potential blackmail or whatever is later because they got it now. They got all your
Yeah.
physical features
Well,
captured
you know,
digitally.
it's out there. On my socials, I on my profile pictures and stuff, I don't put pictures of me. I my Facebook is locked down to friends only. You can't see stuff. And it's because I used to be a process server and I went, man, if I had social media back then, my job would have been so easy because you sit there and tell me when you go to work, where you like to eat, who your family is, who your friends are, what kind of car you drive. I would know everything about you.
Yeah.
And so I lock all that stuff down, which is funny because when somebody gets upset with me and they go to my profile, they can't see anything and they go, "Oh, you're a bot."
Yeah.
No, not a bot, just more intelligent than you because I ain't putting all my personal stuff out for everybody to see. I mean, even X is a little more open than I would like it to be.
Well, before we go further down that rabbit hole, I mean, what do you think? Do you think it was planned, or do you think it was passive like I do?
I think they made some errors. Definitely. And the protocol, they were a little loose on the protocol. It's been funny. It's like, well, we met with local law enforcement, and local law enforcement's like, no, you didn't meet with us. And again, David, you said there's a shooter on the roof. You sent me a clip of Bongino, so I listened to the whole show.
Yeah.
And he's like, number one, if there's a threat, the president, or I'm sorry, the former president and the nominee should not get on the stage.
And that's what everybody's saying is all you had to do was say, yeah, you can't go out there just yet. And Trump even said they've delayed rallies before.
And again, as someone said on the committee, these things never start on time.
Well, this is what I really would like one of these senators to ask. Cheadle's not in it anymore, so it's Roe now.
Yeah, his days are number 2.
Yeah, he's handling himself a little bit better than Cheadle, man. I mean, when you get cornered at the RNC, you don't run away. I was like, that's not the guy I want in charge of the Secret Service. Someone who runs away when they're cornered. But
I'm gonna jump in right here.
Go ahead.
This whole scenario between Joe not getting reelect or not seeking reelection and Cheadle. This is the consequences of DEI.
Oh,
illustrated perfectly.
Hands down. But this is the question I want, a senator to ask Roe. And this is definitely like a Josh Hawley type of question. He's the guy that's got to do it, or Kennedy. Go down the timeline of failures. Just run down the timeline of failures for Roe. And then just go, there's only 2 things that this could be: gross incompetence or gross negligence. You tell me what it is. And I don't want to hear any filibustering answers. It's one of those two things. You tell me what it is. It's either gross incompetence or gross negligence, because once we can label it, we can start to dig down to what the real problem is and how to fix it. But I'm going to tell you right now, not a single person in there, which is so stupid, because they're letting it turn into politics too. When you got Jamie Raskin trying to make it into a guns rights issue, it's not a guns rights issue. It's a failure of the Secret Service. That's absolutely what it is. Okay, so every time a Democrat's out there trying to turn the conversation to gun rights, I mean, one woman asked Roe, and someone asked Cheadle as well. It was pretty much the same question, which was if the handguns were taken off the street in D.C., would that make the Secret Service's job better or easier? And I went, well, number one, you didn't try to shoot him with a handgun. So count that one out. It didn't happen in D.C. And we're not talking about Joe Blows on the street. So your question is pointless. It's pointless. You're wasting time. Getting back to what I was saying, though, it's gross incompetence or gross negligence. It's got to be one or the other. If it's gross negligence, they intended this to happen and let it happen. If it's gross incompetence, then like the Secret Service agent that put out that letter, the top 5 people got to go. You don't get to fail. Okay, Roe failed.
Well, the site coordinator did too.
But
I mean, he should be gone.
Roe, yeah,
you're fired.
But Roe was the second in charge. He failed as well.
True.
And he failed up because he got the top position.
It's sort of like the end of an NFL season, and the president of operations fired, general manager fired, coaches fired, the staff is fired.
Yeah,
you know, no one gets a second chance, and that comes with the responsibility of that job. If you don't perform, you're fired, and they didn't perform.
Yeah, and you know, while everybody's talking about, oh, we need to pack the courts, oh, we need to reform the Supreme Court, and we need to do this, and we need to do that, and DEI this, and none of it matters. Okay, the Secret Service is not a political wing. It's not a political wing. It's a law enforcement wing. And the only thing that should matter are facts. That's all that should matter. But this guy is up there trying to cover his butt, spinning lies left and right because the video evidence doesn't line up with what he's testifying to. And, you know, once again, is anybody going to hold him accountable? Is anybody going to throw him in jail for perjury? No. Bannon's in jail, and I don't even like Bannon. You know how much I dislike that guy. But I don't think he should be in prison for not showing up for this thing. Hunter Biden's not in prison.
Yeah, that's another subject for another undocumented facts.
Yeah,
of how we don't hold people accountable that should be. But again, it comes down to, you know, I bet if they, hey, Vice President Harris, we're going to switch site coordinators. You're going to get Trump's site coordinator, and he's going to get your, no, I don't want him, you know, because he did a horrible job. Your job is to coordinate with the local law enforcement and make sure everything is covered.
And I just saw Grady Judd, you know, the law enforcement guy, the officer from Florida that he does all those videos about, and here's this guy, and he thought he was gonna and then we shot him. That's how most of his stories end, and then we shot him dead. But he was trying to explain the local law enforcement side of it, and I suggest anybody go watch that if you want to the real local law enforcement side. I trust Grady Judd. I don't necessarily trust the local law enforcement to tell me the truth either, because now you got finger pointing between them and the Secret Service. But Grady Judd said he's his, not him personally, but his office has done these before. And they coordinate with the Secret Service, and the Secret Service tells them this and this and this, and it sounds exactly like how it's supposed to go. He goes, I'm not pointing the finger at the local law enforcement, but what I am saying is they did fail, and it could be because it's a small town and this is not what they do.
True.
And if you got Secret Service out there telling you you're going to do this and you're going to do that and you're going to they won't question it, they'll just go do it.
One more thought is, from JD Vance's wife's perspective, as her husband now travels with Trump, she's got to be like not sleeping at night, because as P-Funk says, they may try this again, or someone may try this again.
It's going to happen.
Well,
yeah,
that Secret Service agent in his letter wrote that there is another threat that will happen in 30 days if this doesn't take place. I mean, if the changes don't take place, you know what I mean? The way these whistleblowers are going, I gotta believe them. But that accusation, I go, well, why do you make that statement? What's your facts? What are you gonna back that up with? Or is it just, if this doesn't get fixed, it's gonna happen again? Well, we're all saying that.
true.
So
That's just logic.
Yeah.
Hey, we're talking about the government. They're not logical.
Well, speaking of another government, Venezuela.
Venezuela, not Valenzuela.
Okay. Venezuela. There we go. Thank you, Dave. I'm just
What's
making up new countries.
One's a picture, the other's a country.
Yeah. Thanks, Dave.
Sure.
We're talking about serious topics. I don't mind a little humor. The U.S. just said, "Hey, we're recognizing the guy you said lost,
didn't win,
didn't win as the president." And
does that make them election deniers?
They are election officially. The U.S. government is in the category of election deniers.
By the way, I'm making jokes. I think the people have spoken by the videos of the thousands and thousands and thousands of people in the streets that that dictator need to go. Yeah, okay, everybody just jumped on their phones. That must be really exciting here.
No, I'm just to me, I just every time something happens in South America or Central America, I'm just thinking, what is the CIA doing now?
Right.
What is going on down there?
Well, hey, let's talk about that for a second. And we don't need to dive deep, but once again, look at everything that's happening. You got the American fleet moving into what was it, the Mediterranean? Is that where they're going, the Mediterranean? Russia's moving their forces in over in that area as well. They're all preparing for something big with Iran and Israel.
I think that's a foregone conclusion at this point.
Yeah. They're moving things into place, and it could get pretty bad. Now, that I think the government is the U.S. government is kind of letting things happen, and they're, you know what I mean? They're pointing it in a direction. They're like, okay, just let things roll out for a bit. And then they point it in a direction and let it roll out for a bit. And, you can't say that they're not directing it. They absolutely are. But, none of this would have been happening if we hadn't sent Iran hundreds of billions of dollars. I'm just saying, they didn't have the money to do it before. We funded it. Just like we're funding that Ukraine war, why are we at the bottom of all these wars? And a really interesting question is, why are your average Democrat voters now supporting war? Weren't they the peaceniks?
We're also funding the Taliban too. Not a lot of
Well,
people know that because they're enemies with ISIS.
well, we've always been funding the Taliban.
Yeah, but a lot more openly now.
Well, we handed them over $80 billion in so I saw this on Twitter yesterday. I went, oh, that's a really good point. Somebody needs to discuss gun control with Joe Biden because he left $80 billion worth of guns laying around.
Yep.
So is that over now in Venezuela?
Venezuela?
Venezuela.
I don't want much more you can go down that rabbit hole. I mean, it's what's the motivation for us?
What is the motivation? I once again, I'm just looking at it on the surface. I saw a picture and a video today. I was like, that kind of summed it all up for me. And it was someone had spray painted on the back window of a car, no Mas dictador. No more dictator. They don't want him out. The country wants him out. And
I think it just proves that you can only take voter fraud so far. Where we had in 2020 we had polls in Wisconsin that said Biden was going to win by 18 points and Biden was going to win by this, so it was sort of believable. But in this election, everybody believed that the dictator was going down, and the early voting, the dictator was going down.
Well,
and all of a sudden,
until he showed up with the military, he shut down the polls because he was losing.
Yes, and you can only take voter fraud so far before it's believable, and it just wasn't believable. Hey, dude, they want you gone. You got to go. That the bottom line. And you're starting to see that a little bit in the polls in the U.S. where, she wasn't liked 2 months ago. They wanted to get rid of her as the VP. And now you're trying to make me believe she's leading the polls. Yeah. I'm not buying it.
Yeah.
But this is the thing they want to do, as we talked about, is we don't know what's going to happen this election, but this is what they do. They prepare people for, okay, I can see how she won. In Venezuela, there wasn't that. No one liked you. They wanted you gone, and it's not believable. You have to go.
Yeah. The
Uncle Sam will come and let you know how the balloting truly went.
Yeah. So how did this person get into power? Because Venezuela was the third richest country in the world, pumping out all that oil and everything. What was that dude's name? Fox? Wasn't that his name? Something like that? Okay, nobody's helping me out here.
I'm trying to think who the guy, his predecessor. I'm trying to think who his predecessor was, because he got cancer and died quickly. I think the CIA took him out. Was it Hugo Chavez?
Hugo Chavez? I don't know. I'm not up on Venezuelan politics, but anyways, they went from being this rich and prosperous country to socialism, a dictatorship. And I saw this video of a dude from Venezuela. He was standing at a hot dog cart and he was trying to explain the economy over there. And he's like, I get 50,000, whatever their unit of currency is a month. He goes, that works out to about $6 a month.
Hugo Chavez.
Okay.
It was Hugo Chavez. Yeah.
To 2013.
So this guy says, he goes to the hot dog cart and he goes, look, this hot dog is 20,000 whatever, which is about $2. I'm making up numbers, but the math is there. Anyways, he goes, so I got to pay like 1/3 of my monthly income just to buy a hot dog. If I want to buy a hamburger, that's everything. So, imagine trying to live off $6 a month with the high cost of living like that. It's not, the ratio isn't lining up, right? So, how did you go from being super prosperous to being super broke with a dictator?
Well,
I think
just look at the last 4 years of the U.S., Dave.
See, and that's what I think it is. I think they pumped it for so long that, hey, this is the way to go, that everybody without a brain just went, yeah, let's do that. And, government's going to give me free everything. Listen, why wouldn't you?
I think humanity, we talk about, a lot of times speaking about elections, we talk about the lesser of two evils. You have, in one hand, you have the government. In the other hand, you have corporations. So in Venezuela's case, they nationalized all their oil production, which was supposed to go back into the country and go back to the people. Well, that never happened. And then and the other side of the coin, when you have corporations involved, you have all these, people trying to squeeze every penny out of everything. And this is, what's the lesser of two evils? Well, to me, it's always corporations, because when you're dealing with the government, you're dealing with, legalities, because if you disagree with the government, they'll just throw you in jail or have you killed, or label you a traitor or whatever it is that they got to do. Corporations their motivation is always clear. It's always out to make money. Yeah. I don't know if that makes any sense or not, but
it does. Yeah, it does. And I'm a firm believer in take corporations out of politics, but I don't think they have a place to be there, because it's supposed to be for the people. Aaron and I have had this conversation. He supports corporations having a say in politics. I don't. But, it all is about money at the end. And honestly, I'm trying to think of a way to say this that I won't get misconstrued. But I think what you're seeing with all those people out in the streets, and even with all the smash and grabs that are happening here in America, that when the people unite, they have the power, and we need to harness that power for good causes, not smash and grabs. But to Venezuelans, I say, take your country back and don't ever vote in socialism again.
Well, if we've learned anything, look at Argentina. I would love to see something like that sweep in the United States.
What happened in Argentina?
I got a whole new president. He is
that's that government. That's that dude that looks like he just woke up.
Yes,
he rolled out of bed. I'm here for work. Let's get to work.
He looks like he should be in an Austin Powers movie.
Yeah, the guy flies commercial.
Yeah,
God bless him.
He has been successful.
And
again, you're right though about the American people. The American people said, we didn't like your commercial, Bud Light.
Yeah,
and they took him down. Look what happened with John Deere. Yeah. They someone posted their DEI letter to the employees, and all of a sudden, farmers were like, hey, you know what? I'm not buying that tractor now.
Yeah.
And canceling that order. And
same with Tractor Supply.
Yeah. And John Deere said,
we'll back off from this.
It just shows you how much power when the people come together. And look what happened in Venezuela. People started rioting. And as America,
I don't support the violence or the rioting or anything like that.
People, the uprise.
What I was talking about was the people in the streets.
Yeah.
Get out there, take your government back, do it peacefully. You don't have to get violent. Sorry to cut you off. I just
No,
want
no,
to
no,
make myself clear
yeah,
that wasn't what I was
and
getting.
again, people, there was probably a small fraction doing violence, but getting out there and talking and just saying we're not tolerating this.
Well, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
When the military folk, when the military men start stripping off their uniforms and joining the protest, you're weak. You're gonna lose power because what are you gonna do? I don't know these guys' names, but what are you gonna do? You gonna personally go out there and start arresting people?
Yeah, no,
No,
I'm
you're
out.
not. You need your military and your law enforcement to do that. And if they ain't on your side, it ain't happening, bro.
Well, sometimes the military, they use their brain. They're like, there's 50 of them and one of me.
Yeah.
I lose.
Yeah. But
I like my family and my dinner at night.
I think these people are at a point where they're like, they've got nothing left to lose.
True.
You know? And if you know how it is at work, if you're talking to your buddies about what's going on in the world and what's going on around you, there's going to be a whole lot of, I think we're getting hosed here, man.
Well, just think about the founding of this country. They told England, hey, we're done paying all these taxes. We don't want you here anymore. We're okay. And England said, no. Finally, it came to a point, though. They had to thump England going, no, you have to go now.
Well,
and that was a long process, but they figured out that England wasn't going to leave unless we thumped them.
Yeah.
Yes.
But I mean, think about it back then. That was such a roll of the dice. I mean, America wasn't a superpower.
No.
England would have been a superpower in that one. So,
yeah. So, let's just talk about another superpower against another not so superpower, Ukraine. And I guess some NATO countries now are letting Ukraine fight Russia from their countries.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Look,
well, I mean, P-Funk. Is America crossing a red line here with NATO?
Ooh.
I mean, you just wrote an article. Well, it's been out for a little while of about World War III on your Substack. From
PFunkProphecies.com. Shameless plug. Yeah. Well, what scares me, and I don't know how many people know this because I don't think they're paying close enough attention. And it's not mainstream. It's not in the mainstream news, but it is news. But NATO countries like Finland just allowed Ukraine to launch attacks into Russia from their territory. That is a red line. And it's not the US's, that is Putin's red line. And he's been very adamant about, he's been tolerant, and I'm going to use his words, of the the money and the support and all that stuff that's been going. But I think after November, the gloves are coming off. And I hope America elects a president that either they fear or respect, because I don't think Putin has much left to lose anymore.
Here's my conspiracy theory on that is I think Putin and Trump have been talking, and I think that's one reason that Putin's been so quote unquote patient with or use your words, tolerant, to stretch this out a little longer. I think they have a plan. Those two have a plan to give Trump the win. If he wins in November, Putin gives him the win in January. We've come to a peace agreement. He won't just, oh my God, Trump's in office, I'm going to back off. No, we've come to an agreement. And this is what we're going to do. And they publicly spank Zelensky. They get Zelensky out of there. And they just publicly, make him out or expose him for what he really is, which is, man, I can't even think of the word.
Crook,
war criminal,
I don't.
Dictator. He's I mean, he's if you don't think that they're laundering money through Ukraine, you're just an idiot. You're not paying attention at this point.
Yeah,
okay.
I didn't know that much about Zelensky, and the more I kind of dig into who he is and what he represents now, I don't know if I believe anything that I read. I mean, he's supposed to have Jewish roots. I don't see anything that legitimizes some of that, but
well,
I don't know what he believes.
Kamala's an African American, so
I don't know. It's all very questionable. I mean, I could go along with your theory on that. I am sure.
Well, it's happened before. It's happened before in history. Ronald Reagan.
Yeah.
Ronald Reagan, Jimmy Carter. Iran gave Reagan the win because even as a kid, and I was watching all that go down, I was like, it's been like 30 minutes, the guy's president, and what? It's been going on for 150, 200 days, whatever it was. And this guy steps into office and he just gets the win. What's going on there?
Yeah. I just, I'm going to back up a little. I'm going to back up then move forward. I don't see Ukraine reclaiming any territory. And as we've discussed on previous episodes, and, Putin's issue in the whole Ukraine situation is, it's a military strategic issue. Ukraine is the gateway into Russia.
Right.
And he cannot have Ukraine as a NATO ally because that puts what he perceives as his enemies not on his doorstep, but inside his front door. Because I mean, it's just flat all the way
to foyer.
Yeah.
In his foyer.
Yeah, in his foyer. That's a great way of putting it. So, I'm not a Putin apologist, but I know enough about military strategy, and I know enough about the geography of the region, to understand, I get it. I get what he's saying. Yeah, I am pro-America, but I think we've done everything in our power to antagonize that situation.
He poked that bear long enough with the stick.
That we have poked the bear long enough, and they know Americans do not have the stamina for a long and drawn out war.
No.
And I think Trump. I think you're right. Trump will end it.
Oh, I think he'll end all that stuff
if he gets elected. If he survives long enough to make it into office.
And that's why they don't want him elected. I mean, there's too much money to lose. In the pharma industry and the war industry, there's too much money to lose.
Let me go back and ask you a question again, because you raised Trump gets the win. Is that what happens with Israel and Iran? That Trump asked Netanyahu to wait until he's elected, where he can basically tell Iran to back down? I don't do anything.
I don't know about all that. I'm sure they discussed some of that kind of stuff when they met up, but Trump, I think Trump can end that war. I don't know how, but I think he got the Abraham Accord signed. So I think he can make it happen.
I don't think so. I think there's too much
Okay.
blood on the table now.
I think he can end it. But
What's his
uh
strategy then? I mean,
I
I'm just curious. I'm not trying to be
that's what I'm just
confrontational.
saying. I don't know. I don't know. But I think he can.
Well, do the people of Israel want that war?
I don't
Because
think
if they don't, Netanyahu should be able to, as the leader, to go, we don't really want to do this. Let's wait till Trump's elected, and so he can tell Iran to back down.
It's
I
it's
don't know.
it's not
It
war they
maybe,
want, it's revenge.
yeah,
Okay.
it might it might be something more along the lines of going back to Putin, and Trump has Putin tell Iran to back down. But either way, Trump ends that war or Trump continues that war. That war is no way a win for Trump. Either way, because you got so many anti-Semitic, Jew-hating Democrats over here and some Republicans. It's never going to be a win.
Okay.
Never going to be a win. So just end it and move on.
P-Funk. So the people of Israel want revenge against Iran now. I mean, they want blood. We won't settle for less.
It goes back to Hamas and Hezbollah. It has I mean, everybody knows who's funding these two groups. There's no secret here. I mean, this is about, it's like that scene from The Dark Knight. It's not about money. It's about sending a message. It's not about war. It's about sending a message. They cannot look weak on the world stage. And I'll take a turn here and let's talk about the spiritual part of this. If you're a Christian believer, this is everything getting set up for the second coming of Christ, in my opinion.
I've felt that way as well. I don't talk about that a lot because I'm just kind of watching, but all the signs are there. I mean, they line right up. They really do. And as a kid, when my mom would drag me to see that what was that 70s rapture movie?
Crossing Blink in the Eye or something like that.
Thief in the Night.
Thief in the Night. Yeah, Thief in the
Night. I hated that movie. But even then I was like, yeah, they could never get all that wow. I mean, they've got people carrying, we all do it. We carry around. I heard somebody say, don't be so surprised if your phone is the mark of the beast, because you carry it with you everywhere. You pay for everything with it. You do everything on it. I look at the phone more like your disc in Tron. You can't lose it, right?
You're a digital ball and chain.
Yeah,
what makes you a slave?
You got to be a Tron fan, right? P-Funk?
I'm not a big Tron fan, but I enjoy it. I find it entertaining.
I'm a big Tron fan, but that's like the first rule when he gets into the digital world is don't lose your disc. It's everything. And that's how we are with our phone. It's our disc. But yeah, all the signs are lining up.
There is a video on YouTube. I don't know what you think of Phil, or is it Mark Driscoll has, it's a 20-minute YouTube video. It's from one of his sermons.
Phil Driscoll, I like his trumpet playing.
It's called the six things that, the six signs of Jesus' second coming. It's 20 minutes. It's well worth the watch. And whether you like him, Mark Driscoll or not, he's pretty spot on. I mean, it's not a inaccurate representation of the scripture. From
those who I listen to love him, so I'll just go with that. I'll trust their judgment. And I'll look for this video and we'll add it to the show notes, just like the last time we did. We added some YouTube videos to the show notes. And another guy to follow, you sent me that video with General Conor McGregor. I follow him on.
Did you say General Conor McGregor?
Oh yeah, I did. What is his name?
You know what? Maybe we could use a General Conor McGregor.
Yeah. What is his name?
I don't know about y'all, but I'm looking forward to Tammy Tyson boxing.
Hey, while Aaron looks up his name, just on a side note, this women's boxing thing, you know, I've seen so much back and forth on X and all of this, and people all upset at the Olympics, and I'm never watching again. And you know, one thing I got to say to all you keyboard warriors, which I'm one, by the way, is if you're not going to start tagging the IOC or NBC in your posts about a man beating up a woman on television, just shut up.
Yeah, that whole
your
thing
white
is
noise
weird.
in the background. What?
The whole thing is weird. Because
Hashtag weird.
well, it is.
Kamala,
I mean,
hashtag weird.
yeah. Saw through my thing there, right?
Yeah.
You know, it's like, so we're back to having, you know, female sexual organs. It makes you a woman again. We're going back to the science. Is that how that works? You know.
Hey, you know, I remember a SNL bit back during the Bush administration, and they were calling dinosaurs Jesus horses, and the whole joke was that conservatives and Christians don't believe in the science; they believe in creationism, and you know all of that. That was the joke. However, I mean, let's talk about science for a minute. There's the science of COVID. There's the science of mass. There's the science of transgenderism, or also known as gender dysphoria. I mean, you want to talk about science deniers. I mean, let's talk about some science deniers because it doesn't fit your narrative, because it hurts your feelings.
Well, just this whole, the whole thing with the Olympics and this whole situation is, I don't know what to believe when I read it. It's like this person, and I'm going to refer to them as a person because they are a human, was born with female genitals, but has XY chromosomes. Are they hermaphrodite? And the Algerian government only sees two sexes.
I don't know. One of the things that I saw was it said intersex, but I'm going to tell you this. That's a man. Look at the body structure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, take all that stuff away. The high concentration of testosterone in that person's blood sounds like doping to me. So why, you know, that sounds like it's either this is a man and he's got high levels of testosterone, or this person is a more female leaning hermaphrodite who's doping. So this person should be disqualified on either count.
I don't want to go too far off. I want to get back to General Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Colonel Douglas McGregor. Not Connor, Douglas.
And he's a colonel, not a general.
Yeah.
There's a difference between a colonel and a general.
Yeah, I said colonel, right?
No, you said General Conor McGregor is what you said originally.
Okay. Yes, I know what I said originally.
But
you passed, Dave.
Yeah, I get it.
You passed.
All right, thanks, man. This is what I have to say. I have a very unpopular opinion about this man punching this woman on the Olympics or in the Olympics. It's a very unpopular opinion. But I also had this opinion during the Floyd riots, which is, women, this is your time to shine. This is your time to step up. And this is your time to call this out. And you're not. You're not. And when I say this with the Floyd riots, you know, you had all these woke white people. I hate even injecting race, but it was such a racial thing. You have all these woke white people saying we got to protect our black brothers and sisters, and I agree, but um, don't fight the fight for them. Be there and support, and when they need your help, be there for them. Let them fight the fight. They needed and wanted to fight the fight. Women, you need to fight this fight. Riley Gaines is doing it. Step up. I said the same thing with the Me Too movement. I like Ashley Judd suddenly came out and she was like the darling of the Me Too movement. And I went, "What? You knew this was going on for 20, 30 years. He said it. Why now? Why didn't you start this movement 20, 30 years ago?"
Because she wanted a career.
Yeah, exactly. She got the fruits of her labor. And then, you know, when she was a big enough star, she said, "Oh, my name carries some weight, and now I'll help you." You should have stepped out back then. And full circle here, that's what needs to happen in the Secret Service. These lower level Secret Service agents need to step up.
Yeah,
Step up.
it's the last 2 weeks have not been empowering for women.
No, it hasn't. And
The feminist movement has been set
to
back.
see all these naked guys on TV.
Well, speaking of women,
Wait,
you know, we have one running as president now.
wait, before we jump into
Okay,
that, what's
go.
going on with General Conor McGregor?
Well, P-Funk sent me the video, YouTube video, and he's been at the forefront of Ukraine and all these different wars. I mean, he served in the Trump White House, and he's been right on from the start. He's like, Ukraine, it's impossible for Ukraine to win this. And he's been right.
Yeah.
And he goes, and he also said Iran was behind from the start, the Hamas thing. They've been funding Hamas. And he goes, sooner it was another country too, and I forget which country it was. I'll butcher the name once I think of it. But there was another country that is involved too, but Israel has set its sights on Iran, and they just killed 2 top Hamas
Yeah.
lieutenants or colonels or majors or whatever it is.
Oh, it was
in Tehran.
They were hitting Hezbollah, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Was that Tehran?
No, that's Lebanon.
Lebanon. That's where it was. I want to clarify. Before we wrap this up, and move on to the next topic. I'm in support of women standing up for the right to compete against other women. I am in support of the Secret Service agents stepping up. And when I say all this stuff, even with the George Floyd stuff, hey, that's not my fight. I'm not saying it's not all of our fight. We need confidence in our leaders and law enforcement and stuff like that. What I am saying is, we'll come back to the women thing. Women, you've told men for so long, my body, my choice. I don't need a man. We're equal. I don't need your help. Don't hold the door open for me. That's sexist. That's misogynistic. That men have now just backed away. And now you're kind of looking to the men to go, hey, that dude's beating up a girl. And dudes are kind of going, all the men are kind of going, well, what do you want me to do? Because you've told me not to do any of that stuff for so long. And if I do it, you blast me on X as misogynistic or racist or whatever. Do you see where I'm coming from? Does that kind of make sense?
Well, yeah. I mean, it's like if we fix it, we lose. If we don't fix it, we lose.
And that's why I say, women, it's time for you to step up, and the men are here to support you, and we will jump in where you want us to or where we need to, but
Yeah.
this really is, this is not a man's fight. No pun intended.
Well,
This
as
is
a father of
this is a
three
woman's
daughters,
fight. What's
as,
that?
as a father of three daughters, I am utterly horrified at the world that I've brought them into. And again, I have to look at the spiritual, ramifications and implications and of this whole situation. This is all a setup for what's to come. And I think we should resist? Absolutely. I think this is our time as believers, men and women both, to shine. And we're in a war right now for the soul of humanity. The United States is in a war for the soul of dignity and truth. And I, you know, I, I lament, you know, the fact that we are where we are, not only as a nation but as a people. We're so divided, and you know, I just have to have faith that this is all unfolding because Christ is returning. It has to. The world has to be so dark in order for people to see the light.
Yeah. Well, you know, I started thinking about something else that tied into it, and I can't remember how I was going to tie this all together. But I was oh, I know what it was. So what I was getting at was the you rob these groups of their power when you step in and say, "Let me fight that fight for you," because then it's just turned into a bunch of white guys stepping in, and that's why we get labeled racist, misogynistic, and all. You know, uh, I am strong, powerful leadership, women, black community. I'm all for it. Okay, but we need you to do it. And
We'll stand with you.
average white guys, you need to allow them to do that. I think they want to do it, but you get these crazy people. I gotta fight that fight. No, you don't. No, you don't. You need to help them out. Does that make sense?
Well,
So,
I just think that those, I think it was 5 8th grade girls, and they had a guy. It was doing the not discus toss, but the shot put.
Uh-huh.
And 5 girls decided we're not doing that, and they all faulted. We're not competing against a dude, and they stood up.
Right.
But what happened?
There's a sacrifice.
They got suspended, and no one did anything.
But let me tell you something on a world stage.
Okay.
If all the other women that were there that disagree with that man doing what he did said, you know what? I ain't fighting.
Well, there's an Irish boxer.
What is the Olympics going to do?
Yeah. She's refusing to fight if this person advance, and she has to fight him. She's not going to do it.
Yeah. Don't do it. And if enough of you get together and don't do it, NBC has and the IOC have a real problem on their hands at that point, because they've sold all that advertising. They've sold all those tickets. They've sold all that stuff. So if those women banded together just on let's talk about the ticket thing, just on the ticket side of it, they're going to have to refund all that money.
Well, I think the swimming, when it came down to where they made a rule that you couldn't swim. I mean, that's why the dude that won the women's swimming from Penn, I forget his name. They basically were like the Olympic swimmers. We're not doing this in the back room. And then finally the IOC was like, okay, we'll make a rule, because they didn't want egg on their face at the Olympics, because they would have backed down.
Well,
they would say, we're not racing him.
I have another unpopular opinion. What about a trans Olympics? And I'm not even making a joke. I'm being 100% serious. What about a trans Olympics? What's wrong with that? And I mean, we have a not disparagingly saying this, but we have a Special Olympics.
Yes.
And if your argument is, well, there's not enough competitors for a trans Olympics, well, then you're proving the point that accommodations are being made for the 1% and the 99% are sacrificing to make those accommodations.
Let's ask a broader question here. How many Americans do you honestly believe are we really split down the middle, or is it really just like a small number of people that are really okay with this?
It's a small number of people that are very loud, and then they're amplified by the media.
So what's your percentage?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know about percentage.
Just guess. I mean, it's not like
I don't know.
That's money on the table here.
That's 15%.
Yeah,
15%.
Yeah, I'll probably go about 20% because you know,
that are okay with this.
Yeah, because they're just not informed. They're listening to, and I'm not down. We all have our thing, okay? You know, some people are just not into the news, and that's okay.
But all my people live in Seattle, LA, San Francisco, Chicago, New York, and maybe Miami.
Yeah.
There are no huge populations in the Midwest.
Well, you know,
that believe this is okay.
I'll give you a little hint, P-Funk. The California is very blue. We all know that. And there's, you know, post-COVID, there was a migration from San Francisco, where it's really expensive to live, up to Sacramento, where now it's expensive to live, but it wasn't before. And it was due to everybody working from home. And they just went, well, I can live in Sacramento, still be in Northern California. I'm only 2 hours away from San Francisco, and I can work from home. So this is great. And you would think that all those crazy San Francisco liberals, you know, are just overpopulating Sacramento, but they're not. If you went out and actually talked to a lot of people around these parts of Northern California, like Placer County, that sort of thing, you find that, yeah, even if they're liberal, they're not okay with a lot of this stuff that's going on. They're just not. So, you know, it's being led by the media, and it's identity politics, and you know, it's more from the elected officials just playing games, and we're stupid enough to fall for it. What's our next topic?
Well, we're just elected officials. So we're getting down to, since we last talked and did one of these things, we've had a assassination against a former president, and then we had a coup against a current president, and now we have a new Democratic nominee. Or we do have to wait to the convention for her to be formally announced. So there is a couple weeks that, you know, she could be taken out, but I don't think so.
Taken out's the wrong.
Oh, okay.
Wrong phrase, man.
Or especially
Phrasing.
Yeah, don't say that.
Okay.
Replaced.
Replaced. Okay, I'm sorry. Replaced from the nominee. And so you know, for a coup to be against her, I think after the convention, Joe's going and she's going to be installed as president.
Hey, real quick, speaking of Joe.
Okay.
Everybody catch him walking onto the plane.
Oh, yes.
All the prisoners from Russia got off the plane, and I guess Joe thought it was Air Force One. He's like, I'm out of here, guys.
Oh, my gosh.
For everybody to get off the plane. Then he walked up the steps, got in the plane.
Oh,
that's sad. It's sad is what it is.
It is
gone.
It is.
He is gone.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
elder abuse at the highest levels.
They here. I was having this discussion this morning. They either need the 25th Amendment, this guy, or
He's got the
he
nuclear
needs,
codes.
or he needs to step down. But here's the problem: they've lied for so long about his abilities, that if they 25th Amendment him, they've got egg on their face. The problem really is the same problem at the top of corporations. Nobody wants to admit when they're wrong. Nobody wants to admit they made a mistake. Nobody wants to admit that anything's going in the wrong direction. But I am all for. I respect a man more if he can admit when he's wrong than someone who tries to cover up what they did. And
well, don't you think the Bidens have receipts? And basically, Jill saying, if you remove Joe, I'm coming out with the book, and and I am going to name names, and it's going to get ugly.
And Nancy responded by saying, "I don't care.
Okay,
I don't care."
Well, you're also forgetting the Hunter element too.
Well, he's supposed to be sentenced this week on 3 of those felony charges. I'm not holding out much hope.
He'll be part. So there's this whole situation is spicy because the whole he's got to get somebody's going to try to pardon him. If he burns Kamala, she's not going to pardon him, so they can't burn her. So is he going to be pardoned now, or is he going to be pardoned in that lame duck period? Is if Kamala gets elected, is she going to pardon him?
I think regardless of who does the pardoning, I think it's still a black eye for him because of course there's all the people who aren't paying attention. We had 20% that didn't even. Some of them still don't even know there was a Hunter Biden laptop. So, there's always going to be those uninformed people out there.
Would Trump pardon him?
No,
You don't think so?
There's not a chance of him pardon.
You know,
I think
he was going to go after Hillary. He didn't go after Hillary.
Well, that's a different fight. But I thought it was kind of. I laughed at it, but I thought it was dumb that he would say she'd be in prison. It's just like, you're not going to do it. And
do you think Kamala actually is legally getting the nomination? Let's just start there.
Well, legally, no. We already know it's not legal because everybody voted already. So it's not legal. And
so how do you think she's actually going to get the nod?
But now I get to call Democrats election deniers.
Well, the thing is, don't the super delegates vote anyways? I mean, they can, in the Democratic Party, they can do whatever they want. They don't have to go by the numbers.
I don't know all the legalities of it. I really wish I did, but it seems extremely complicated, like far too complicated for a Secret Service agent to figure out, I'm for sure. But
you would be correct, sir.
Yeah, right. But here's the thing that I do know is people voted. They could have written in Kamala Harris as the nominee when people went out and voted. They could have put, the big mistake here? The big mistake was Trump agreeing to that debate in June. He should have waited until the nomination was done. And I said the same thing about DeSantis with Newsom, even though it worked out all right for Newsom. I mean, for DeSantis, which is when Newsom wanted to debate DeSantis, DeSantis should have said to him, "Are you now announcing your candidacy for president?" And when Newsom said no, I would have said, "Well, call me back when you do. I debate presidential candidates, not governors. I already have my governorship. You have yours. I don't know what we're debating."
Yeah. So do y'all feel like she's actually going to get the nod at the convention, or do you think there's
yeah.
coup?
I do at this point.
Yeah.
Especially when they're letting her go so far to pick her VP choice,
Who
which
did
will
you
happen.
pick?
Which will, well,
I got
we
my
have a bet.
money's.
We have a bet.
Yeah.
Me and Dave have a bet, $20. He says it will be Shapiro. I'm starting to get worried though, that it's going to be him. Because it seems like they're vetting him right now. But I think they'll just go. I think they know they're done. They're cooked. There's no winning for them. I think they'll go Buttigieg.
Well, I'm praying they go Buttigieg. I'd love to give up $20
He's
to
from
get Buttigieg.
California too, right?
No, he's Indiana.
Indiana.
Indiana. I couldn't remember.
Yeah.
He was the
But
mayor of a small
You know,
town.
not all the gay people live in California, P-Funk.
Well, I was going to say my next guess was going to be New York. So
Now you've heard mine. You've heard Dave's. Who is yours, B-Funk?
what?
Who do you think will be the VP pick?
I thought it was going to be Michelle
Yeah.
Obama
I'm going to tell you why
or Chelsea.
well, someone mentioned Chelsea is already talking about some ambassadorship if Kamala wins. But I'm going to tell you why I never counted on Michelle Obama being in the race, and it goes back to listening to Bongino, and he said he was on her detail, and he said, you know, Black Swan events happen, but he goes, I know from conversations that I've witnessed, she has zero interest in doing any of this. And I counted her out at that point. She'd definitely be a heavy hitter.
They don't like Kamala. The Obamas do not
Nobody likes Kamala. She couldn't even win a primary.
Her husband does.
Are you sure about that?
No, I'm not. But I'll just say, you know, Willie likes her.
Willie Brownlet does like her.
Yes. And so yes, I think
she's easily controllable, and that's why I think the powerful people like her.
The Democrats are just trying to save Senate seats and Congress seats at this point, because they were looking at a bloodbath. If
you can't say that word
right. Looking at a terrible result in November for the whole Democratic Party if they let Biden run the term.
Everybody knew Biden was a loser.
Well, it just, you're not only losing, you're just, the Democrats, you got to get the Democrats out to vote. They weren't even going to come to the polls for Biden, and they would have lost, 30 seats in Congress, and they were, and they would have, the Republicans would have controlled all things. Now there's enough 50-50 seats that Congress is going to be close. The Democrats may hold the Senate, but I don't think so at this point.
Well, I'd like to see them, have a super majority.
Well, yeah, that's not going to happen. Not with those in charge of the Republican Party.
Do you think the story is true that Pelosi met with Biden and told him he needed to step down and he refused, or Jill said she refuses for him, and then she told him, well, we can do this the easy way or the hard way, and they went the hard way, and that's why you had the debacle of the debate. That's the conspiracy theory. Do you believe it's true?
I think that they thought that they could get Biden drugged up enough that he could be State of the Union Biden at the debate, and that didn't work out. I think that yes was a more of a conversation with Jill and Nancy than Joe and Nancy, but Nancy's she's tough, man, and somebody, I think it was Dave Smith, related her to like a mob boss. When you see in like Goodfellas and they call Joe Pesci in and they're gonna make him, and it doesn't quite work out that way. That's That's what Nancy Pelosi. She's the cleaner. She's the wolf. She's the cleanup person.
She's the one that paints houses.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I heard is after the debate, they tried to stay in. Nancy went to Joe and Jill and said, "You can bow out.
Get your library.
Yeah. Or we'll 25th Amendment you.
Yeah.
And we're gonna have open debate at the convention of who should be the nominee." And then basically the Bidens basically screw you. They went and backed Kamala as basically, since you forced us out, we're going to do this because you want to open convention and we're going to close it. And then after he did that, they all basically were like, okay, I mean, did you see Schumer go, hey, we're behind Clamor, and he started clapping and like no one in the room.
He gets it.
Clapping.
Yeah, he's
So
like,
you have
okay.
to clap.
Yeah.
I'll clap for you. Like, they don't even like her.
Yeah, could you be more unpopular? Well, you know what I think this points out, and I think it's very blatant that Democrats they shafted the socialist twice. What was his name?
Bernie.
Bernie Sanders.
They shafted him twice.
Say that Bernie Sanders.
That's
say that.
I mean, that's who their constituents wanted. They wanted Bernie Sanders. Okay. They shafted him twice. And
he was unelectable.
Well, yeah, but that's who their party wanted.
Yeah.
Okay. And then they shafted old Joe and put in Kamala. And they're just dead set on having one or two losers who happen to be women in the White House, Hillary Clinton or Kamala Harris. But I mean, they're just dead set on having that happen, and
well,
they don't care.
Hillary almost won. I mean, Trump won, I think, 3 states by 40,000 votes. I mean, they came close. The bottom line, Democrats want to win, and they knew with Joe
to get a winner. Pick a winner then.
Wow.
Pick a winner.
You're kind of like, we talked the other day. We went to the San Francisco Giants game, and we were talking about who's up, who's the winner, which one of the Democrat national people are the winner. And I told you the name. I think Ben Shapiro may win.
Joe Shapiro?
Joe, I'm sorry, Joe. I keep mixing guys up. Joe,
Ben Shapiro's from Valenzuela.
I know he is. No, I think he could win the governor of Pennsylvania.
Yeah, I think that
but they'll never nominate him because he's Jewish.
Yeah, and that's the problem with their identity politics. They're in a real catch-22 here, which is, do we pick the Jewish guy to help us win, or do we hate the Jewish people? Which is it? Because there's a lot of Democrats that are not going to vote for a Jew.
True. So P Funk, as we wrap this up, do you think VP Harris will be the nominee in mid-August?
I haven't paid, I'll be honest with you, I hadn't paid that much attention to it. But I would be surprised if she isn't, because they basically just handed over $98 million that Joe had to her. We raised it. No, you didn't. You transferred it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'd be surprised if she isn't. It's nice to see the Democratic Party infighting, because they're usually have a good bit of solidarity. But it's ironic, because you were mentioning, the Kamala has not said great things about Israel. Well, a big chunk of the Democratic Party is a Jewish segment. So they're split probably 3 ways right now. as far as I can tell. So I would, there's the part of me would like to see the convention to be chaos. I mean, because I mean, she has not, according to their own rules, legally obtained the nomination. Now, she could get the nomination at the convention if everything goes well. But I'm just loving the fact that there's so much infighting in the Democratic Party, which is typically in lockstep. Everybody's in lockstep with each other. So, yeah, I don't think Shapiro will get the nomination.
Okay, so you're choosing another VP candidate.
Yeah, it's gonna
Okay.
be, it's gonna be, it's gonna be. If I had to put money down, I'd say it'd be Buttigieg too.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'll gladly give up $20 to get Mayor Pete in that second position because that's a losing ticket.
Oh yes.
I mean, you took the hey,
jokes are unending.
hey,
You
know,
think the squad
yeah.
is going to get behind Shapiro?
I
The
think
squad is not
AOC
going
would
to get
have
behind Shapiro.
AOC would have a better shot of winning the ticket than Mayor Pete. And it's like the Democrats went, hey, who were the two lowest performing in the last primary? Those are the ones we want. We're DEI. Take the two losers and put them at the top of the list. Maybe that's what's going on with the Secret Service. They're taking the losers from the bottom and they're DEI-ing them to the top. I don't know.
Well, let's come back in October and do this again. We'll have the debate to talk about September 4th.
I don't know.
They're supposed to debate. Hey, if I was Trump, I'd just send what's her name, the girl you like a lot, from Hawaii.
Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah, Tulsi Gabbard.
Yeah.
I want that woman to run for president so bad.
Yeah.
So does Dave.
Oh, I love Tulsi.
Yeah, just send her out there for the debate. She'll take Kamala. She did before.
Hey, I would rather have Tulsi as a VP. You know,
yeah. Tulsi Gabbard would be awesome.
I think she is awesome.
She's the whole package.
You know,
even her views on abortion.
You know, you're not going to agree with everybody on everything.
I'm just asking, and
I don't agree with their views on abortion.
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm voting for Trump. I'm not. I just say that, but I'm not his biggest fan. But we can't stand another 4 years of what's going on. So
you know,
at least Tulsi Gabbard talks across the aisle.
That's true.
Yeah, and she's intelligent. She's informed. She's not word salad woman. She's not brain dead. You know, Tulsi's a much better candidate. I don't know this Joe Shapiro guy. I just know that with their racism, anti-Semitism, and identity politics on the left, that you're gonna lose some of your voting base because they don't want a Jew, which I think is stupid.
Yeah, I think it is.
I think all racism is stupid. Anytime you judge somebody on the color of their skin or where they're from, I think you're just a moron. But Shapiro is the heavy hitter. Buttigieg is not.
True.
It's not. And Buttigieg gets out there, and all we're gonna see is that picture of him breastfeeding his adopted baby.
But that's the base.
We can only hope, Dave. We only hope. Hey, we wrap this up. P-Funk, how's the album coming along? You got 2 songs out there.
We're 4 songs away from being done.
Okay, that's great.
I mean, it's pretty much down to tracking drums on 4 songs and wrapping up vocals on 4 songs, and some polish. We got our Artificial God music video going off tomorrow night on YouTube. Of course, by the time I guess this podcast comes out, it'll already be out.
Yeah.
So, but check out the pfunkprophecies.com. I'm working on my next nightmare scenario, which will be artificial intelligence.
And
when's the next article?
The next article. Okay.
The next article.
You got your Substack from the
Yep. Yeah, just go from thebottomend.com or the pfunkprophecies.com. It'll take you right there.
Oh,
inspired by this show.
Well, at least
so-
we inspired something.
Yeah. You don't need any steel guitar at all in the songs.
We need somebody to play slide guitar on
Slide guitar. I'm sorry.
dominoes. We were
Dominoes.
trying to. I got 2 new guitar players, and neither one of them have taken up the cause to learn slide, so we can put that song back in the set.
Well, I've never taken up the cause to learn it. I'll just do it though.
We are. We just announced some show dates.
I've already auditioned, by the way.
Just got to show up for the gig, man. Just got to show up for the gig. We'll be in Kansas City, September 13th, 14th. We're playing Nehemiah Fest in Smithville. Friday night, we hit the Spirit stage at 6. And then Saturday, we're on the main stage, I think 4 or 5 o'clock. I can't remember. I think it's 4 o'clock. So, and then we're going to be in Huntington, Arkansas. That Sunday, I think is the 15th. We're headlining Brantstock. So, so we got some show dates coming up. If you're in the Missouri, Arkansas areas in September, and then hopefully the new album. I'm hoping the new album will drop end of September, 1st of October, something like that.
That's awesome.
All right.
Thank you. And
Fantastic.
so again, hopefully we're talking about a few more songs out by the time we do this again in October. And we this world has given us tons of topics to talk about for sure. And so I don't even think we could just like make up what would happen.
I got to tell you though, if you're a politician, right now is the time to sneak all those bills through that nobody wants to know about.
Yeah,
because there's too much else going on. They'll just get buried down at the bottom, and nobody will know that you secretly taxed people,
or something
for waking up and using the bathroom in the morning or something like that.
I will say about this next album, we are going to probably offend every trigger worthy group that you could think of. So we're Christians alike. So
I was just going to ask that question.
Great.
Yeah, even Christians.
All right.
Thank you.
P-Funk, Faith Head. And
our audience.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mom, for listening.
All right. See ya.
See ya.
See you guys.